Hey everybody, I'm Delicia. Thanks for tuning into the Cigar Vixen channel. So today, after receiving many requests for a review of this particular cigar, I'm going to be reviewing the Drew Estate Year of the Rat. This is the limited 2020 edition that is part of this beautiful box that I received as part of their summer takeover. A lot of fun. I think that the idea behind it, other than of course following the Chinese New Year calendar and very appropriate with the Year of the Rat this year. It's just been an interesting year for everybody, and we're still in the middle of all this, craziness. So again, I'm a huge fan of looking at the positive things and trying to find, reasons to celebrate and other things to kind of fill up our time with, again, doing things that we enjoy. And what better than to light up a good cigar and talk about it. And hopefully if you have anything in your humidor that's, whether it's just part of the overall, there's a lot of different, rat collections. If you've ever been to the Drew Estate factory, which I will say I've been a few times, it was my very first factory that I visited in Nicaragua way back when. And I'm just a huge fan of that, of the beautiful factory that they have. But you'll find in front of the factory when you're first pulling up, there's these different, or at least it was when I was there, there's these different kind of shape, bushes that have been formed into these rats. And it's kind of a play. There's a whole story behind why they use rats and pigs and things like that, which I won't get into it on this particular review, but I have mentioned it before, and you can definitely look at their website and just kind of go into the background of their whole company, which is a pretty neat story. But I thought it was really cool that, again, being Year of the Rat, they had to do this packaging, and this is just a lot of fun. So you have in here the Ratzilla Velvet Rat Year of the Rat, which is the special limited edition, again, 2020 version, and then the Dirty Rats, and then they've also included the Kentucky Fire Cured in here. And they all have this beautiful gold kind of, eye-popping secondary band around it, as well as the artwork and that old school, reminds me of, if you've ever seen that old Disney movie, I think it's Disney, the Secret of Nim, and they had the Nicodemus rat. It kind of, reminds me of that. Anyways, totally off topic. But this is part of their Único series, and it's their Liga Único series, and which is meant to be kind of like a unique offering. I know there's a handful of people that don't like when companies do these limited releases. They're always like, oh, I couldn't find it, and why waste the time on reviewing it, and you can't even find these. Well, part of the hype, I think, is getting people to search for it. And with Drew Estate in particular, they've done a great job of having that Drew Diplomat program, and they're constantly putting out new and exciting content with their pairings and just lots of different videos that they're doing. I believe retailers that are part of the Drew Diplomat program are doing, or they did, like an online HERF kind of an idea, kind of trying to find new and creative ways to get together with people virtually now. I think a lot of people are exploring those avenues, and they were doing that, kind of talking about and getting people to take part in some of these with this particular release. This one it's kind of a brought back release that was initially launched in 2016. It was this limited, I'm trying to remember the story. It was like a very, very limited release, in that you could only get it either through this one lounge in Florida that was doing something with the hockey team over there. And I think something about you had to have a ticket to the hockey game to get a cigar, kind of something like along those lines. And or you could visit during a Jonathan Drew event, and I think they probably had some. I've received pretty much any time that I can go to an event where Jonathan Drew or Willie Herrera is at a lounge doing something. They always have some different cigars that they're giving out for those events. Probably one of the best cigars by Drew Estate I've ever smoked was the A, and that was given to me, it's been several years now, by Jonathan Drew. And again, if you've ever gone to any of those events, you know what I'm talking about. There's always a long line to talk to him. He takes his time in signing, whether it's a box or just, having a heart-to-heart with you. He's a really nice person and very down-to-earth. But that was probably one of my favorite Drew Estate cigars, was the A. And I know you can get them, every so often you'll find one that pops up. But I kind of like the hunt. It's fun and it keeps it interesting. So I know there's people that they don't like when companies do these exclusive releases and limited runs, but I think they're cool. So anyway, gonna get into this one. It is featuring that they're very well known for that Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. So again, lots of flavor on it. It also has a Brazilian binder and the Nicaraguan and Honduran on the filler. Alone, this cigar is right around the $16 range or so. And again, I keep trying to figure out how to take off this little fancy foil thing without messing up the wrapper here. It does have this little fan tail that's kind of fun on it, so a little bit different there. But again, once everyone starts traveling again, and if you have the opportunity to visit the Drew Estate factory, it is just impressive to say the least. It's so cool to go there. I've had the honor of being there a few times. I actually hosted a couple different cigar safaris way back when, small groups of like-minded people that, we were able to actually stay there at the Drew Estate facility and admire all the artwork and smoke so many cigars and hang out. And between the music and just the overall ambiance, it's again very memorable and one of my favorite places to be, if I could be anywhere. So I really miss that, and I can't wait to be able to travel out there again. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this open and get into this little baby here. I'm gonna go with a little straight cut. On the pre-lit draw, you get kind of a leathery, dried cherry in the background of it. So definitely a nice introduction, again, without even having lit it up here, using my little cedar spill. Ooh, that's a little spice bomb right away. Sweet and spicy. Yum. My favorite kind of combination. I can't recall if this is a true statement or not, but it's true for me in that on my journey of cigar smoking, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Mexican San Andres wrapper. That's one of my favorites, but I think second in line would be the Connecticut broadleaf, especially when blended correctly. And Drew Estate does a fantastic job of playing and blending with the Connecticut broadleaf in particular. And when I first started smoking cigars and I was introduced to Connecticut broadleaf, it was through Drew Estate cigars that I fell in love with it. And it was just this massive amount of flavor, and it's still true. It's like you pick that up, and again, when blended correctly, it's a fantastic combination. It's a beautiful representation of a Maduro. It has that nitty-gritty kind of earthiness to it with a nice spice kick. And to me, it burns beautiful, and I love the aroma that it puts out. So very excited to get into this one here. And it's that very rich, billowing smoke. Very nice, again, spicy, sweet on the aroma as well. Definitely has a kind of a red pepper initially, little hint of a black pepper in the background, but more so that red pepper kind of hanging out on the palate. There's a little bit of an underlying sweetness in the background. Definitely pick up the leather. Kind of a dusted cocoa as far as that sweetness is concerned. So not a candied, very in-your-face sweet, but just kind of a little background of a kind of a dusted cocoa in there, and that spice is very pronounced. It's even lingering after the fact. So really nice if you're a fan of, again, the flavor and a little bit of the sensation as well of a spice to it. So more of that red pepper up front, and really nice. This is definitely a bolder expression, I would think, of the rat line, if you will. So yeah, gonna continue to smoke this down a little bit more, and already impressed with that really clean burn line. I mean, just initially, sometimes when I light up cigars, I have to wait for a certain side of it to kind of catch up and make it even. But this one is right away, and that's even being, you know, lit with a cedar spill, which is kind of a can be more difficult way to light your cigar if you're not familiar with it, versus just kind of painting the head of it with a torch. This just shows again that the construction is really nice on this cigar. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and smoke it down a little bit more, of course, and check back in with you all for probably around the halfway point. All right, so coming about halfway, a little past the halfway point, smoking just beautifully. I mean, a tremendous amount of smoke output, beautiful burn line, very solid ash that's falling off in nice, you know, thick, solid chunks at a time. Flavor-wise, it has that nice complexity to it, so it's kind of keeping you on your toes, getting still a little bit of the peppery, more like that cayenne type of a pepper. There's been some nuttiness introduced to it, as well as, you know, kind of almost a barbecue-ish type of a sweeter, you know, sauciness to it. So you're getting sweet components mixed in, spicy. For a little bit there, I was getting little nuances of anise that were kind of coming in and out, little dabs of citrus, again, kind of like an orange rind type of a citrus, just subtle but kind of mixed into the overall picture. But again, just smoking beautifully, very nice, and the construction is great. So going to continue to smoke it down until I get down to the last little bit, and I'll check in one last time to share those notes with you. All right, so coming back on the final little bit here of the Liga Year of the Rat 2020. Towards the end here, still quite a bit of spice. A little bit more towards the black pepper spice versus the red cayenne pepper that was there kind of in the first and the middle part of the cigar. So really the three components of flavors I'm getting, leather, like an old vintage leather bomber kind of jacket, if you will, like, so it has that nice leather presence to it, spice, and then that underlying little hints of sweetness more on the dark chocolate side. So not super sweet, but it's definitely there. There were some subtle nuances of a coffee bean, a dark roast coffee bean, from right around the halfway point till getting into the final third. But overall, very complex, very full-bodied. A lot of flavor coming in throughout the entire smoking experience. It smoked very well as far as the draw, the amount of smoke, very aromatic, very inviting smoke output. Definitely a really good cigar. I mean, I would certainly recommend, if you can find it, grab a box, keep it in your humidor, take one out and smoke it every so often. If you can't find this particular one, I actually am probably more of a fan of the Velvet Rat. I like that one. To me, it smokes really smooth, and it kind of has, I mean, it's very properly named. That velvety has that feel to it. And I would probably choose that one over this one, given, you know, those, let's just say that those two were the only options available. However, this one still caught my attention in the fact that it's complex and has a nice punch to it when you're in the mood for something a little bit bolder. So definitely enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts if you're somebody who is a fan of the search for some of these, you know, limited runs of these specialty cigars, or if you're, you know, maybe you already have them, or you're, you know, a member of the Diplomat program, or you're, you know, whatever it may be. I'd love to hear your feedback if you plan on smoking it, if you already smoked it, you know, what your thoughts were. And as always, I thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit of your day, and I hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you, and cheers.